on a suddenly not so casual free Friday. It is June 9th, 2023. It is MLB Betting, the show, the shark, and the gun. It is Sports Wagering Network, aligned and collaborated with Sharky Waters Nation, 9 Words of Lifestyle. Ride the wave or get out of the water. Guns picks, big card tonight, a lot going on. NBA Finals, beautiful evening pre-summer. Talk to me, what's going on?
Yeah, the weather is beautiful. The weather is nice. The grass is green, and we are going to be locking in some bets. I'm loading the gun as we speak. About to fire some shots across the board in the process. Got 5 plays for you tonight. All first fives. Mr. Worldwide is back. Let's get it. Let's start the weekend right. I'm ready. Let's do the first one.
First play, not waiting around. All these games, obviously, first pitch within the hour. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. On the river out there, gorgeous stadium, and Guns picks looking at the home clubhouse. 43-year-old left-handed journeyman Rich Hill on the hill against the Mets and Tyler McGill. Guns picks, first official of the broadcast.
As the smoke clears from the East Coast and we're starting to see the field come back, and guess who's going to be on the mound here? Rich Hill, and he's going against McGill. And no, I'm not rapping. Those are the two pitchers on the mound today. Let's talk about McGill here for a second. He's on the mound for the Mets. While solid at home, I think he's 5-1 in the first fives at home this season. On the road, not so great. As of late, 0-4 in his last 4 road starts, giving up 5 runs per outing. Now on the other side, we're talking about Hill on the mound for Pittsburgh. He hasn't been that great, but he's shown improvement in his last 4 starts, only giving up 2.25 runs per 5 innings at home. I think in his last outing, he had a full-blown shutout. So I think that's going to be a continuation as he not regresses, but gets better as he goes along here. And you also got Pittsburgh with a little bit of a chip on their shoulder after a terrible home series versus Oakland. They're coming off a day of rest. While on the other side for the Mets are coming off a extra innings loss in absolute destructive heartbreak, giving up 3 runs in the 8th and the 9th inning to the Braves, then a 3-run home run to end it in the 10th. Now they have to go on the road to go play Pittsburgh. I don't think hopes are high there, and the emotions are very low there for the Mets, and they got to go play Pittsburgh looking for a big win here. I think they get it done here, at least in the first 5 windows, so that's what I'm going to be taking here. Pittsburgh, money line, -112, first 5 innings, 2 units special.
Yeah, no, and I wouldn't disagree with the
Sorry about that. Hit the wrong button.
The gun did not alert me of side music, but we are jamming the hell out on a beautiful Friday afternoon. Staying course with this game, I'm dropping 5 plays. These are unofficial plays. I'm just being super honest with you guys. I don't enjoy sweating baseball. I like doing the homework. I don't like to sweat. I'm giving you the top angles. Bet with me or fade, whatever you like. 2 top plays in this particular game. We're looking at the total in this game. And I think you're looking at very specific stuff here with Rich Hill. As Guns mentioned, he thought he was improving. Going through the dynamic, there's interesting stuff developing here. Rich Hill at home this year inside of the division, 2 starts, both with the same final score. Most recently, Sunday, June 4th against St. Louis, 2-1. Earlier on against Cincinnati, also on a weekend, 2-1. Go outside of the division, very interesting stuff, and I think statistical outlierish stuff has developed, and it should go the other direction. Hill is actually 4-0 versus the under in his last 4 home games outside of the division, but he's had horrible numbers. Against Texas, 5 1/3, 7 hits, 5 earned runs. Colorado, laborious, 3 2/3, 4 hits, 3 runs. Toronto, 5 1/3, 8 hits, 2 walks, 4 earned runs. And Houston, this was his most representative start, 6 innings pitched, 5 hits, 2 earned runs. Go back to the last time he pitched at home on a Friday night, which I do think is potentially symptomatic to this game. It was the only time he's gone over at home this year. It was against the White Sox. 4 innings pitched, 8 hits, 7 earned runs, 3 home runs against. And the idea behind this is that when you are a gas can at home outside of the division, you should not be 4-0 versus the under last 4. Go to the other side of this game. As Guns mentioned, Tyler McGill, high upside right-hander for the Mets. However, very, very polarized road versus home, very specifically poor on the road outside of the division. You're going to see a lot of runs here tonight, early and often. And I think the line and the steam is telling you the story. This opened at at 8.5. Steam immediately coming on this over 9 or 9.5 now. I saw earlier, as I said, these are the top looks, not betting money on them, which probably means we're going to sweep this card, to be perfectly honest. Over 9, -120. And first 5, I think this is very centered on both pitchers potentially struggling here early at 5, -120. Next play, Guns picks, Coors Field, tap the Rockies, home clubhouse, Austin Gomber, first 5, fading the Padres, and Yu Darvish. Darvish at home, an ace. On the road, a different scenario here, +0.5, +130, official.
Yeah, I couldn't believe the juice I was getting on this for a half a run, but I know Colorado gives up runs. That's what they do. But listen, Gomer's on the mound and he gets run support, and I'll get to that in a second. On the mound for Colorado, last 5 home starts, 3-0-2 in first 5 perspective, 2.6 runs per outing. And just looking at Gomer's last 8 starts overall, that's home, away, whatever, 6-0-2 after 5 innings, giving up 2.1 runs per outing. Now, this is more predicated on the fact that the offense steps up when Gomer is on the mound. They show up when he pitches. They put up 5.1 runs on average in his starts after 5 innings that's a +3 run differential when Gomer is pitching for Colorado. Now, Darvish, great at home. He's definitely can be the most devastating pitcher in Major League Baseball. However, this season, in a 5-inning perspective, 5-4-2 overall in F5s this season, giving up 2.2 runs per 5 innings. And then you got to go to Darvish on the road. Very different story. 3.2 runs per 5 innings with a run differential of a flat 0. That means that more often than not, you're getting pushes with this guy. And per 5 innings, he's 2-2-1 on the road in first 5s. So I'm playing a little bit with the numbers on this one, and I'm getting some great value here with Colorado, a team that loves to play at home. They put up the runs. And Darvish, as he's shown, can give up the runs on the road. So I get him here at +130. Give me that all day long. Let me make this a 2-unit banger across the bow as I load the gun, and then I fire. Give it to me here, 2-unit special. Colorado +0.5 run, +130.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's a sharp look, and I think obviously, as you mentioned, fading Darvish on the road is very, very important and very discerning stuff. Staying the course of action and the idea of home teams and teams that have very polarized home versus road environments, look no further than the Detroit Tigers. Detroit Tigers come in here 14-13 at home. Very representative, not so much on the road. 12-21, and they come in here on an L6 coming into tonight's ball game, all on the road. Next top look here, Detroit +120 for the game. Go a little deeper here. You go towards the Arizona conversation in this particular game. In my opinion, the 2 most overvalued teams in all of baseball right now are Arizona and Baltimore. Both teams are projected to be right around 500 or slightly under 500, and they are way over 500, double-digit games, in fact, with cratering run differential coming south towards a 0. And I think if you look at Arizona, they have cleaned up a lot of teams this year in their division and some poor teams. Centering on Merrill Kelly, very interesting stuff. Merrill Kelly is 5-0 against the money line in his last 5 road games outside of the division. But most of those games, interestingly enough, are at the NL Central. And we actually capped him correctly to win at St. Louis earlier this year. I'm not entirely sure why. If it's psychological, if he functions well just because he matches up against the bats from that division. I don't know why. He's had a lot of starts at that division, which is also weird coming from the NL West. 6-1 at that division. Go to the other games in this environment, slightly less impressive. And go back to last year. He did take a loss against Detroit last year at home. 5-1. 6 innings pitched, 4 earned runs. Javi Baez got him with a grand slam. And you look at Michael Lorenzen, obviously coming over in the offseason from the Angels, I believe. Michael Lorenzen is a high upside pitcher, particularly at home, particularly against the National League. He is 3-0 against the money line against the National League. Early on, I believe it was the home opener of the year, he actually pitched poorly against San Francisco on a similar number. San Francisco minus 145, but the Detroit Bats did awaken for him in a 7-6 victory. More recently, ace quality starts against Pittsburgh and New York Mets. 3-0 against the NL, 2-0 as a home dog against the NL. And again, I think this trend of Merrill Kelly cleaning up road opponents outside of the division has to come to an end at some point. This is not where he functions well against the NL Central. I think he's going to get hit here tonight. I think Lorenzen will pitch very well. Detroit plus 120, the next top play. Guns picks, we're going slightly later on in the Chicago market. Dylan Cease and young stud, 20-year-old flamethrower, Yuri Perez on the hill on the road tonight at Progressive Field, I believe it is, or Guaranteed Rate Field. I don't know. I'm flowing off the top of my head.
Guaranteed Rate Field.
There we go, on a beautiful Friday night. However, you are taking the first 5 under 4.5 at a slightly juiced minus 138.
Yeah, those 4.5s are real hard to find. I did find that on FanDuel, so it's a little bit juicy on this one, but I want to get away from the push on this one. I don't like the 4. I like the 4.5 a lot better. I'll pay for it on this one on a 2U to play. Let me tell you why. Perez is on the mound for the Marlins here. 5 starts. He's given up 1.6 runs per 5 innings. He has 1 bad start all season long here, folks, and I'll get to that in a second. Now we got Cease on the mound for the Chicago White Sox. Last 5 starts, he's given up 1.2 runs per 5 innings. Cease in his last 3 home games, he's given up 1 run, 2 runs, and 1 run. I'm sorry. This is just the totals in the games that he has pitched at home. So 1, 2, and 1 for both teams. Now you can look at Perez. What has he given up in his starts? 2, 1, 5, 0, 0 in his 5 starts this season. So these are 2 pitchers that can pitch well, that can go deep and past the 5-inning mark. And I think there's going to be a lot low-scoring game when you think that when you're playing the White Sox, you're playing at home, you're thinking they're going to score a lot of runs. And quite frankly, Miami's played a little bit hot with the bats lately, a lot more overs. I think they got to go back to what they are well known for, is those F5 unders, and I think it happens here tonight with this pitching matchup. So give me the Miami Chicago White Sox under 4.5, minus 138, 2-unit special.
Yeah, next play. The next top play here, we're looking at the Red Sox on the road at the Yankees at plus 130. And this is a really interesting dynamic here. I'm trying to pull up Garrett Cole's game log from last year, but the computer's not cooperating, but that's fine on a suddenly not so casual free Friday, June the 9th. But if you start to look at Garrett Cole against the Red Sox, of course, this is divisional baseball, a lot of matchups. I'm just finding a lot of discrepancy between results and actual in-game statistics. If you go back to last year, Garrett Cole, Yankees were 5-0 in games started by Garrett Cole against the Red Sox. However, 4 of those 5 games were non-quality starts for Garrett. 4 of them were 1-run wins, 2 in extra innings, couple of them with heroics from Aaron Judge, who is not in the lineup tonight. And when I really look at a sample like that and I see a pitcher within the division go 5-0 against an opponent, but 4 of them were incredibly tight, 1-run and in extras and non-quality, what it speaks to is getting fortunate. And we talk about this all the time. Being results-oriented can be very misleading in sports betting. A win is not always just a win. Sometimes you get lucky in a win or you get unlucky in a loss. And in my opinion, Boston got very unlucky last year in those 4 games against Garrett Cole. I started looking at the number. Books agree. If you go back to last year, Cole was laying significant figures against the Red Sox. Minus 250 at home, minus 170 on the road, 200 again at home. This is the shortest number he's laid at home against the Red Sox in a long time. And this is a Red Sox team that has been inconsistent this year. They are on an L2 coming into tonight, but I think this is where you want to buy the Red Sox in this matchup against Cole. They do hit this guy well, and I think they will get off this schneid tonight, this 0-5 sample against Cole. On this, again, as I said, not betting it, and I will say this, guys, these are top fucking plays. This is not bullshit. I looked at this in the same environment that I look at. I just want to watch the basketball game and hang out tonight. Boston plus 130 is the top look in that spot. Next play, Guns picks. West Coast baseball, Marcus Stroman running hot. This guy is the class of MLB pitching right now. He's on the road tonight on the West Coast again at the Giants, and Anthony DeSclafani, inconsistent 33-year-old. You are on the Cubs first 5 on the money line, minus 110.
Yeah, I mean, Stroman's been pitching really good lately. I mean, his last four starts, 1 run per 5 innings in that span. So he's getting back to that strat. He had 1 bad outing, I believe, against the Minnesota Twins when he let up 8 runs. I think he's not going to do that today here versus the San Francisco Giants. Now, Stroman on the road, 2 runs per 5 innings, 2, 1, and 3. So only 1 bad outing, like I said, against Minnesota on May 14th. Now you got San Francisco bringing DeSclafani tonight on the mound. Last 3 starts, he's given up 4.33 runs per 5 innings. And then you got to look at him in the home window, 3-4 this season at home, giving up 2.7 runs per 5 innings so far this season. Also, San Francisco is 2-5-1 in their last 8 games after 5 innings, and they just came off a road game versus Colorado. I believe they lost that one, at least in the 5-inning perspective. Now they're going to go travel home, whereas the Cubs are on their 3rd leg of their West Coast swing. I believe they had to play San Diego. Then they went to they're coming off a loss to the Los Angeles Angels in a 2-1 F5 loss. At least, I look at everything in 5 innings. I don't care about 9 innings. Let's face it here, folks. So they're on the 3rd leg of the West Coast trip. So they're all acclimated. So there's no weird travel there. I think if there's weird travel, it comes from the Giants on this one, and they're facing a pitcher that they could actually get some hits off of, which they need here for Stroman. So give me Stroman here. Chicago Cubs money line minus 110 F5 2-unit special.
Love to see it. Love to hear it. Furthering the discussion here, we're talking continued buy low environments. I talked about Detroit earlier in the AL Central on an L6. Well, the division leader is now under 500 coming into tonight's game on an L5. And this is also where I do think in MLB baseball, you're going to see reversals in these teams in the next 100 games. It's very easy to become such a prisoner of the moment in baseball because there are so many games, and teams can appear to be unbeatable over 25 game samples. But when you really zoom out, you realize that's only about 1/7 to 1/8 of the entire calendar. And you see a team like Minnesota coming here on L5, but I think more specifically, you want to zoom into the pitching matchup. Yusei Kikuchi versus Sonny Gray. Sonny Gray has been very good on the road this particular season. He's also been very good on the road outside of the division in his Twins career, particularly against some of these AL East opponents, who, of course, he did face in his brief stint with the Yankees years back. But more centering on Kikuchi here, Kikuchi pitches very similarly at home versus specific opponent types. In this campaign alone, he has aced Tampa Bay. He is consistently very good against Tampa Bay north of the border. He did get hit by Baltimore at home. Same thing. Baltimore hits him well there. And he did get Milwaukee. He pitches well against the National League in this spot. Go back to last year. He did face Minnesota last year on June 3rd at home. Minnesota absolutely hammered him. 4 2/3 innings pitched, 7 hits, 4 earned runs, 3 home runs against. Sonny Gray should pitch great here tonight. Yusei Kikuchi should get hit coming off of a road win at the Mets in his last start. This is where you want to buy Minnesota. Short number, buy low. A lot going on here. Plus 108. Guns picks. Next play, final play on the West Coast yet again. Seattle at LA. Ohtani versus Castillo. Should be a pitcher's duel tonight. You're looking at the first 5 under minus 106.
What a better way on a Friday night to stay up late and watch some West Coast baseball while you're sipping on a beer, you're smoking a little something. And this is what I'm trying to give you here, folks, on a Friday night. So let's talk about this game here. I think this is going to be an absolute pitcher's duel of the under here. 3.5 minus 106 is the play on this one. Castillo is on the mound. And while he hasn't really had leads in first fives on the mound, he's really pitched well. Last 4 starts versus divisional opponents. Let's break it down like this. 4 starts, 0.75 runs per 5 innings. So he's doing well versus division. He's also pitched 3 straight shutouts after 5 innings on the mound in his last 3 starts. Now, Ohtani is on the mound for LA. He's a little bit wishy-washy on this one, but if you actually look at what the team does when he pitches, 7 out of the last 10 matchups have gone under in first fives when LA is the home team, and that's talking about when they play Seattle. And also got to look at Ohtani versus divisional opponents. The under is hit in 11 out of the last 12. And you got to look at Ohtani at home. 14 out of his last 16 have gone under by a total of 4 runs or less. I know we're hitting that weird mark of the 3.5, but I think a lot of those have been 3s and 2s and 1s. I think this is going to be an absolute pitcher's duel, and every time Castillo goes against somebody, he always a really good team, a really good offensive team. He pitches well. Unfortunately, the pitcher that he goes against also pitches very well. So I'm staying away from the game altogether in the side, and I'm focusing my attention on the total. I like the under 3.5 in this spot. The line is telling me a story. It's not 4.5. It's not 4. It's in the right spot. Give it to me here. Under 3.5 minus 106. First 5, 2-unit special.
Yeah, and the last game we're looking at here with significance, Houston Astros at Cleveland Guardians. A lot going on in this game, and I think a really interesting dynamic developing here with rookie pitcher Logan Allen. Logan Allen has been very, very impressive. He's coming in off consecutive road starts. Just an absolute ace quality start at out-of-division Baltimore. 7 innings pitched, 10 Ks, 3 hits, 0 earned runs, and backed it up in the division at Minnesota. But Logan Allen at home has been a different story this year. 3 starts against the AL at home this year, 2 losses, but more importantly, a much higher whip. And what seems to be happening here is, for whatever reason, he travels better. Maybe he focuses a little bit more. Maybe it's the dimensions of the ballpark. Maybe some home pressure. Could be psychological. Could be batter to pitcher frequencies and dynamics. Not entirely sure, but it's sustainable enough, in my opinion. And I think one game that's very reasonable corollary here, the only time he's pitched against the AL West at home this year, it was the Angels, and he did have his worst outing of the entire season. 4 1/3 innings pitched, 8 hits, 2 walks, so runners on base very consistently. Only 3 earned runs, which has been a bit of the story of this guy's young career. He has been great getting out of jams and great with runners on base. I think ultimately this probably does come to an end tonight. Houston does get Christian Javier on the mound. Javier is an absolute sustainable ace on the road. This guy barely ever has a poor road start. He had 1 this year at Pittsburgh. I don't think that's symptomatic of this at all. Of course, that was an interleague game against a team who was super hot early season. And if you look at Christian Javier last year, he did have 2 starts against Cleveland, 1 home and 1 road. Both great starts. Wednesday, 5/25, Cleveland at home, 2-1 win, 5 2/3, only 3 hits, 9 Ks, 0 earned runs. At Cleveland, August 7th, 6 innings pitched, 6 hits, 1 earned run, and did take a 1-0 loss. This line did open with strength at Houston. Houston did open up here at minus 145. A lot of market steam coming in here on the Guardians. Again, not entirely sure why. We always talk about this with market steam. We don't really know why people are necessarily betting with some sort of financial significance to move the line that much. I look at the dynamics. I'm not entirely sure why, but again, this is the last play with significance on the broadcast. As I mentioned, not betting this myself, but did analyze it with the same quality I always do. Significant plays, I'll call them that for this broadcast. Detroit plus 120, over in the Mets game, first 5 at 5, 120, game 9, 120, Boston plus 130, Minnesota plus 108, Houston minus 105. The gun, 5 plays, and a beautiful Friday it is. Pittsburgh first 5, minus 112, Rich Hill against Tyler McGill, a gas can on the road. Colorado first 5, plus a half, plus 130, fading Yu Darvish on the road in the division at altitude, coming off of ace quality home starts. Under in the first 5, Ohtani versus Castillo, 3.5 at a minus 106. Cubs, Stroman, minus 110 first 5. And Miami White Sox, under 4.5 in the first 5. Yuri Perez, the young flamethrower, against Dylan Cease. A beautiful night it is, Friday night, NBA Finals, a lot going on, about to work out, have a few beers, enjoy life. Guns, a pleasure as always. Close them out with some words, and let's dominate.
Yeah, I'm about to work out myself. It's quad and core day, which is a terrible day for me, but definitely going to be cracking some beverages tonight while we watch the NBA Finals. Just want to appreciate everybody in the chat. Exactly this thing we do. JR Black Day, Don PLA, joining us here today on the chat. Please get into the chat so I can shout you out next time we're on the show. And all you guys that would have been watching this live, whether it be on Twitter and whether it be on YouTube, get your ass over and like and subscribe to the Sports Wagering Network. Lots of content coming, and it's going to be absolutely electric. So please join up on that. So the plays are going to be cooking. We gave you, 10 plays here today. I also leaned on that Boston, New York Yankees over first 5. That was almost a look for me today. I just couldn't get there, but I like that Cole gives up a lot of runs to the Red Sox when he does pitch. A lot of overs on that one, whether he wins or loses. But that is just a lean, not an official. But let's cash some tickets tonight, boys. Let's drink some beers. Let's enjoy the beautiful weekend. We will be back here tomorrow with some more plays for you. Good luck with your plays. And as always, let's keep dancing. Bye.